A few days ago, yesterday, ICAN communicated on their social media accounts that the November diet exam will be conducted on November 10th through 12th. Okay. What that simply means is that the task or the work has begun. Okay. So, particularly at this level, this is the final level, and you have to take everything very seriously. Okay. All what you have been doing from exemption of these diets to date, you are just testing the mic, right? So this is the time for you to really get down to business, because at this final level, you have to be more determined. You have to be committed and focused. Remember, when we started, I mentioned to you that I advised that you should set your ICAN goal, and you have no other goal other than you to pass your exam. For those of you that are writing all the papers, your goal is to qualify this diet. For those of you that are combining courses, okay, maybe you want to write 3 or you want to write 2, whatever the case may be, your goal is to pass all your papers. Therefore, at this moment on, every day you have to sleep, you have to think, you even have to eat. You have to ponder about the goal that you want to achieve for this November 2026 diet. Therefore, I'm encouraging you to show more commitment. All right. So we'll be saying this from day one. ICAN exam is not difficult. It's all about you. As you lay your bed, so also you will lie on it. You have practically 4 months or less, 4 months less few days or thereabouts for you to be able to get ready for the exam. Therefore, please double your effort. This is the time for you. Don't wait for any lecturer to come and take you before you read, right? This is the time for you. You have to show that commitment that this exam I want to write is once and for all. I'm not coming back again to ICAN. All my effort of every night attending classes is going to be over soon. That this November 2026 diet, I want to end my ICAN journey. That should be your aim. You must stop it. You have to end your ICAN journey so that you can move on to the next area, to the next area of endeavor. So you have to stop your ICAN journey this diet by clearing all your papers, so that for those of you that already have a requisite work experience, go to amuwo.fi, come May, second week of May 2027, go and collect your certificate. So that should be your target. That should be your aim. Please, guys, time and tide wait for nobody. Before you wink, November 10th will be here. Therefore, take it very seriously. I pray that God Almighty will make the exam very, very easy for you. So as you are reading, it's easy for you. God will grant you that retentive memory, so that as you are reading it, you are retaining it in your memory, and it will be very useful. It will be beneficial for you on the day of your exam, so that at the end of the day, when ICAN releases your result, come the 3rd week of December 2026, you will have every cause to say, God Almighty, I thank you. I ask you, and you gave it to me. I'm very happy, God. I show gratitude to you, because you ask, you seek from the Almighty, and He has given it to you. You are going to praise. You have every cause to say, God, I thank you. Oh, you are going to celebrate come December, between December 20th and 23rd. That is when ICAN will release, based on the experience so far. So that's when ICAN is going to release your November diary result. So it will be double joy. It will be double joy by the grace of God. You will not be eating chicken. You will not be eating Christmas chicken and drinking juice. You don't remember ICAN result, you become something else. No, it will be a joyous moment for you by the grace of God. Okay, guys. The message I have for you tonight, and please show more commitment. Like I said, ICAN is not difficult. It's all about you. It's all about you. I have done it before. I know several people that have done it in the past. So ICANN is not difficult. It's all about you because it is your perception. It is your disposition to the ICANN exam that will determine the outcome on that day. And I pray it will be a beneficial outcome for you. All right, guys. So we can begin the class of the day. Where are we? You can't hear me. Uchechi, same here. Let me see.
That was there. We can hear you now.
Before you joined the class.
Oh, okay. Before I joined the class, I was wondering. That's okay. So, all right then. So let's start today's class. All right. This is the question we are going to solve, and then after this one, when we get to, please mute. When we get to capital budgeting as well as valuation, we are still going to solve more of a cost of capital. So all what we are doing now is just to lay the groundwork, all the main thing that you need to know as far as the cost of capital is concerned, so that when you get to valuation or capital budgeting, there will be no issue at all. All right then. So let's move on from here. So I need one of you to cast the news for us. So who's going to help us? Who will help us to read? Yeah, who is helping us to read? All right. Let me choose one of you since there is no volunteer. Abigail, let me start with you. Are you fine to read? Abby?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. The directors of Jindadi PLC, an Abuja-based entertainment company, are currently considering the appropriate cost of capital to use in appraising capital investments. It is the policy of the company to assess the financial viability of all capital projects using net present value criterion. You have been provided with the financial information of the company. Most recent statement of financial position. JP, okay, all figures assumed to be correct. JP has an equity beta of 1.2 and an ex-dividend market value of the company's equity is 1 billion naira. The ex-interest market value of the convertible bond is 168 million naira, and the ex-dividend market value of the preference share is 50 million naira. The convertible bonds of JP have a conversion ratio of 19 ordinary shares per bond. The conversion dates and redemption dates are both on the same date in 5 years' time. The current ordinary share price of JP is expected to increase by 4% per year for the foreseeable future. The equity risk premium is 5% per year, and the risk-free rate of return is 4% per year. JP pays profit tax at an annual rate of 30% per year. Required: calculate the market value after tax with average cost of capital of JP, explaining clearly any assumptions you make. B. Discuss why market value weighted average cost of capital is preferred to book value weighted average cost of capital when making investment decisions.
Thank you very much, Abby. Yes, that is the question. Examiner is asking you, right, to calculate the market value after tax weighted average cost of capital of JP. All right, this is very specific. The requirement in the question is very specific. Remember, I told you that there are two methods of calculating WACC. You can either use market value method or book value method. All right, of course, you can never have the same answer if you use the two methods. However, and I said that at all time, you have to use the market value to compute your WACC. because you are going to use the market value to do the weighting or the proportion of equity and debt when you are calculating your WACC. And I also mentioned that you will only use book value, because book value is historical value. You will only use book value if examiner asks you to use it. Other than that, you don't use book value to calculate WACC. It has to be market value. Why? Because market value is the value determined by the market forces of demand and supply. And because of the fact that its market value or market price incorporates, okay, the current or latest information, all right? So, and that's why it is the most acceptable price by the investors. Book value is historical, all right? There's nothing much. It will not reflect. It doesn't reflect market information. And at the same time, book value is the decision. If investor make decision relating, as per book value, is going to provide a kind of optimal investing decision. It will result to suboptimal investing decision, and that's why usually we don't use book value when calculating weighted average cost of capital. So now we want to calculate WACC. Then you need to ask yourself, what kind of WACC? Is it traditional WACC, project-specific WACC, or WACC of the combined activities? Of course, certainly, we are going to calculate traditional WACC. Why? Because we are given capital structural information. In this question, for Jindadi PLC, we are given ordinary shares of 200 million naira. We also have 7% convertible bonds. Bond is a form of debt, all right? So we're also given 5% preference share. So this shows that since we are given capital structural information, then we are going to calculate weighted average cost of capital using the traditional method. Okay, so if that is the case, because we have the three elements of long-term financing, therefore, we are going to carry out 4 steps to calculate traditional WACC. The first step we are going to carry out is to calculate cost of equity. Okay, so how do we then calculate cost of equity? Of course, the information in the question will tell us, because we said that to calculate cost of equity, there are 3 methods that you can use. You can either use dividend valuation model, capital asset pricing model, or Miller and Modigliani. We did not talk about, so far we have not spoken about capital asset pricing model, because I said it's a topic on its own, which we are going to dissect fully when we get there. Then also, Miller and Modigliani, when we get to adjusted present value, that is just a formula, and that is when we are going to use it. Okay, so our focus was generally on dividend valuation model. However, when you look at this question, examiner has given us information to calculate capital asset pricing model, because we are given equity beta of 1.2. All right, we are given the company's equity beta of 1.2. We're also given the market risk premium of 5%. We are given risk-free rate of return, okay, of 4%. So when you have all of this kind of information, it means that you are going to calculate cost of equity using the using capital asset pricing model. So if that is the case, let's dive in straight to calculation because of time. All right. So solution. The name of this company. Let me remove. How many? That is 14. That's okay. All right. So the name of this company is Jindadi. I will then come here, Jindadi PLC. All right. So we want to calculate weighted average cost of capital. So if that is the case, let's move on. I don't know. Let me see. What's wrong with you? All right. So I would then come here. This, to calculate WACC, the first step is to calculate cost of equity. I would then say calculating cost of equity. KE, denoted as KE. How do you do this? Because of the information given in the question, so we are going to use capping. All right. This will be computed using capitalizer pricing model, consistent with the information given in the question. Okay, consistent with the information available. All right. So how do you then calculate capping? To calculate capping is calculated as cost of equity is equal to risk-free rate of return plus beta. Let me have beta here. One minute. Let me bring up beta. Where are you? Beta. Yeah, come out. Yes. Plus beta into market return minus risk-free rate of return. All right, so this is the formula for calculating our cost of equity using capitalizer pricing model. So I will then go back to the question. What is the risk-free rate of RF? Is the risk, let me define, since we have not done this. So even though you have done it at skills level under financial management, well, let me just write it out. Okay, RF equal to risk-free rate of return. Then we have beta. Let me just copy this. Right, we have beta. What is beta? This is beta value. Beta measures risk. All right, we use beta to measure risk. Then we have RM. RM is equal to market return. Then we have RM minus RF, which is called market risk premium. Market risk premium. That's the difference between RM and then RF. All right, so that's that. We can then proceed with our calculation of capping. Okay, so I will then go back to the question, what is the risk-free rate of return? The risk-free rate of return is the rate of return associated with government securities. Like, for example, treasury bill or federal government bond, all right? Any government security, the rate of return that is associated with any government security is known as risk-free rate of return. It is risk-free because investors cannot lose their money when you invest in government securities because government is continuum. Okay, so we are looking for risk-free rate of return. So examiner has made life so easy. We are given risk-free rate of return of 4% per year. So I would then come here. Here will be 4 plus I need beta. B is beta. Beta measures risk. Therefore, the JP's beta is 1.2. Okay, which means that JP, the risk of JP, or let me put it this way, JP is more risky relative to the market because the beta of the market is always 1. So if the beta of the company is 1.2, it means that this company, JP, is more risky as compared to the market risk. Okay, so here is 1.2. Then RM simply means market return. In the question, we are not given market return. However, examiner has given us equity risk premium of 5% per year. Risk premium is the difference between market return and then risk-free rate of return. The difference between market return and risk-free rate of return is called risk premium, and we are given it to be 5%. Okay, so here is 5. Therefore, give it to me. What's the final answer? What's our cost of equity? 1.2 multiplied by 5. That's 6. 6 plus 4. 10%. Thank you. That's it. You can imagine. You've done this. You move on to the next one. So we have calculated cost of equity. Life is so easy. No need for you to go and be checking from the question whether dividend has been paid or not. Oh, am I given any growth rate for me to be able to increase, to incorporate growth in my calculation of cost of equity if you are using dividend valuation model? This guy is very straightforward. But in some instances, this beta, if examiner wants to make life so easy for you, this beta of 1.2 will not be given. You are the one that will compute the beta. How do you estimate the beta? There are 5 different formulas that you can use to calculate beta value, depending on the information available. However, I will keep that one until we get to capital as a pricing model. For now, let's solve the question the way it is. All right, so step 2 now is to calculate cost of preference share. Why are we calculating cost of preference share? Because in the question, we have preference share, okay? We have preference share of 5%, 5% preference share. So we need to go and calculate cost of preference share. Therefore, you then need to ask yourself, what kind of cost preference share is this? Is it redeemable or irredeemable? In the question, there's nowhere examiner mentioned that this preference share will be redeemable. So since you are not given redemption dates, all right, since you are not given redemption date for the preference share, that means you are going to calculate cost of irredeemable preference share. And we said that cost of irredeemable preference share is computed as the ratio of fixed dividend to ex-dividend share price. Okay? Let me copy something we have done before. I just need, is there anyone that is shorter? Let me just copy this. So instead of me to be looking for formula up and down. Okay, I will then say calculating costs of, let me just call it irredeemable for the purpose of the class. Irredeemable preference share. All right. Denoted as KP. So how do you calculate cost of irredeemable preference share? It is calculated as the ratio. All right, this is computed as the ratio of fixed dividend, okay, so ex-dividend share price, ex-dividend share price, okay, multiply by 100%. This is the formula that we have used before in calculating cost of irredeemable preference share. So if that is the case, let's then go back to the question and pick all relevant variables that we need to do justice to the question. Okay. Copy this. So we need fixed dividends. And we said that preference dividend is computed as nominal rates multiplied by nominal value. The percentage of the preference dividend will always be given to you. All right, it's always a percentage. If it's not given to you in naira, it will be in percentage. So let's go back to the question. We are told 5% preference shares. So this 5% is the rate of dividend that the company is going to pay the preference shareholders. We then multiply with the nominal value. All right. So this nominal rate multiplied by nominal value of 1 naira is the preference dividend. So let's go and do working for that. Workings. Working number 1. We want to calculate preference dividend, per share. Okay, we want to calculate PDPS, preference dividend per share. To do this, I would then say PDPS equal to nominal rates, just for the purpose of the class. Nominal rates multiplied by nominal value. Remember, I told you that the par value or nominal value or face value of preference share is always quoted at 1 naira. All right. So PDPS equal to nominal rate is 5%. Nominal value is equal to 1 naira. All right. Therefore, PDPS is equal to 5 kobo. 0.05 or 5 kobo. So there is no need for you to be working on this on the day of your exam. You already know 5% of 1 naira is 5 kobo. Just go ahead. No need for you to be doing workings. It's a waste of time for this kind of a thing. All right. But if you do workings, fine. No issue. So now that we know the preference dividend per share, of course, I can then come here. I can come here to say, this is, let me remove naira. This is 0.05. If I like, I can say working number 1. Okay. Then I need X dividend share price. In the question, we are not given X dividend share price. Examiner has given us total dividend. See, look at, you are told that the X dividend market value of the preference share is 50 million naira. So we have been given X dividend total market value. So you may want to convert that. If you are using par value, you need to convert this 50 million naira to per share. Okay, you have to convert it to share price. So to do that, it will be total market value divided by number of preference shares. That's it. However, because we are using, if you want to use absolute value, in that case, there is no need for you to be dividing the total market value by the number of preference shares. Okay, just use the 50 million. All right, but your dividend in this case would then be 5% of the nominal value, 5% of 80,000 of 80 million naira. So that would be your numerator, if that is the option that you want to follow. But in any case, let's just move on with this. We are using par value. So I would then say X dividend, we want to calculate X dividend Ex-dividend share price of the preference share. Okay. So that's working number 2. So here is X dividend share price, which is equal to total. Let me copy what I have here. Which is computed, which should be computed as total market value. Here will be total market value divided by number of preference share. Number of preference shares. All right. Which is equal to the total market value given to us is 50 million naira. Here is 50 million. All right. So let's restrict our number to million. So 50 million, then divided by number of preference share. What's the number of preference share in the question? Okay, so preference share is 80 million divided by 1 naira. That will give us 80 million shares. All right, so here will be 80 million shares. All right, 80 million shares. So what do you have as your final answer?
62.5 kobo.
Okay, 0.625, 62.5 kobo. That's it. 62.5 kobo. This represents the ex-dividend share price for the preference share. So now that we have the ex-dividend share price, I can then go back here. So here is 0.625. Okay, if you like, you can say this is working number 2. All right, that's it. Multiply by 100%. What do you have there? 5 divided by
8%.
Yes?
8%.
8%. Thank you. The cost of irredeemable preference share is approximately 8%. Okay, it is approximately 8%. We then move to step 3. Step 3 is to calculate cost of debt. I will then go back to the question, what kind of debt is this one? Is it redeemable or irredeemable debt or convertible debt? Examiner told us the company has 7% convertible bonds. Okay, this is convertible bonds, right? Therefore, I will then come here. Step 3. I will then say calculating costs of convertible bonds, denoted as KD. And we said that convertible securities are fixed income securities that can be converted to a known number of ordinary shares at a specified future date. Okay? And we said that to calculate cost of convertible security, simply go ahead and calculate internal rate of return, just like you normally do when you are calculating cost of redeemable preference share or redeemable debt, right? The only difference is that when you are calculating your cost of your cost of convertible securities, you have to compare or you have to select the area of redemption value or conversion value. That's all. That's all you need to do. We have demonstrated this in our one of our previous classes. Therefore, we want to calculate internal rate of return, okay? We want to calculate internal rate of return. Let me pick a table that we have used before. That would make life easy. Let me copy this. Let me copy it down also, so that I don't need to come and be doing another work, looking for formula to use. So, oh yeah, now. So, so we then come here. Remember, we said that to calculate internal rate of return, what are you supposed to do? 2 steps. You are going to carry out 2 steps. Step 1 is to assume 2 discount rates that will produce 2 opposing NPV. All right, you assume 2 discount rates that will produce 2 opposing NPV. That is a positive as well as a negative NPV. Okay, that's what you need to do. And then thereafter, you then go ahead and calculate cost of convertible securities. Okay, so if that is the case, let's go and solve this question. And I advise you, anytime you want to calculate internal rate of return under cost of capital, always start with 10%. You assume 10, examiner will not give to you the discount rate that you are going to use to determine your cost of convertible or cost of redeemable debts. All right. So you are the one that will assume 2 discount rates that will produce a positive and negative NPV. So because of time, so in year 0, we are going to have the market value, the current market value of these convertible bonds. So I will then go to the question, what is the market value of the convertible bonds? So examiner has told us that the X interest market value of the convertible bond is 168 million naira. Okay, so if I'm using total value method, here will be 168 million. I will just come in and put 168 million. All right, but I'm not using total value. I'm not using absolute value. I'm using par value. All true. Therefore, I need to go and convert the total market value of the convertible bond to per unit. Okay, I need to convert it to market value per unit. That is, I need to calculate X interest price. So I will then come here, working number 3 now. I want to calculate X interest price. You have to flow the way I'm doing so that you'll be able to see the way we are treating this. All right, it's not difficult. Let me push this one down a little bit. So, because you have to know the next thing to do, all right? You see the way we are pushing it one by one. So you must know the next step to take. All right. So, working number 3, I want to calculate X interest price of the convertible. All right. That's working number 3. How do I calculate the X interest price? How do I calculate X interest price? So I will then come here, X interest price is calculated as the total market value. Okay, total market value which is 168 million. All right. Total market value is 168 million. Okay. Then let me do it this way. There are two different ways I can achieve the same thing to get the X interest price. Let me first of all copy this. So first thing first, I can say total market value. Remember, okay, we can say, let me use the formula you are familiar with. All right, let me use the formula we are familiar with. You know, we said that, you know, when you are calculating market value, when you want to calculate total market value of debts, right? We said debt value is equal to nominal value multiplied by X interest price divided by 100 naira. So it's the same thing here. So let me use the formula you are familiar with. So let me change my style. So we said that debt value, which is denoted as D, is equal to nominal value, nominal value multiplied by X interest price divided by 100 naira per unit, because of course debt is always quoted at 100 naira per unit. Okay, so this is the formula you are familiar with. So this guy, this total has been given to us as 168 million. So here is 168 million naira. The nominal value is the balance sheet value. Okay, nominal value of the bond is 160 million naira. So here will be 160 million. Then multiply by X interest price. We don't know the X interest price. That's what we want to calculate. It's not given to us. So let's say X interest price is equal to X. Let's represent that as X. That is, let me just put X there. Okay, then divided by 100. So if that is the case, what are you supposed to do? This will then be equal to 168 million equal to 160, right? 160x divided by 100 naira. Well, let me use my normal this. So here will be 160 million x. 160 million x divided by 100 naira. What do you do? Just cross multiply. All right. So this will then be equal to 16,800 divided by 160, isn't it? So this will be our x now, will then be equal to, when you cross multiply, it will be 168 multiplied by 100. Let me copy this. So it will be 168. 168 multiplied by 100. Then divided by 160. So this will give you 16,800. All right. Divided by 160. 16,800. Yes, what's the final answer, please? Are we together?
105.
105. All right, this is 105. This is the X interest price. So X interest price is equal to 105 naira per unit. All right. So this is equal to 105. I don't need to be doing all of this if I'm the one solving this. It's because I want to bring it to the language. I want to show you the language that you understand. That's why I have to be doing it this way. I know already that I want to calculate X interest price. All I need to do is to just divide 168 divided by 160 multiplied by 100%. That will give me what I'm looking for. That's all. Just 168 divided by 160 multiplied by 100 naira. That will give me the answer I'm looking for. But so that I don't just be doing abracadabra, that's why I have to use the normal formula you are familiar with. So now that we know the X interest price, we can then go back to our calculation. So the current market value per unit of the bond is 105. Okay. Now, the next thing is fixed interest. Remember, there are two cash flows associated with convertible securities, depending on whether it is convertible preference share or convertible debt. This is convertible debt. Therefore, the company is expected to pay annual fixed interest and then the conversion value at the exercise date. Therefore, I will go back to the question, what's the coupon rate on this bond? The coupon rate is 7%. All right, the coupon rate is 7%. Also, I need to check from the question if I'm given tax rates, because if I'm given tax rates, I cannot use 7 naira. It has to be 7 naira adjusted for tax. Okay, so examiner has given us tax rate of 30% per year. Pay attention to this. Remember the question we solved on Saturday morning, right? Whereby you are told that tax is payable 1 year in arrears. You have to always watch out for that. Don't just assume that tax will be paid in the current year. You have to check when tax is payable so that you'll be able to calculate, to do justice to the calculation. So in this particular question, examiner did not tell us whether tax is payable 1 year in arrears or in the current year. So in this case, you are going to assume that tax is payable in the current year. Therefore, I will just calculate it normally. Okay, so tax rate is 30%, coupon rate is 7%. Therefore, I need to go and calculate post-tax interest. Working number 4. Post-tax interest. You have to know what next to do. Post-tax interest or after-tax interest. All right, so you have to know the next thing to do. You are the one that will be asking the question, the direction, and the question will be showing you this is the next thing you need to do. If you don't understand the concept, you will not be able to probe the question. All right, you will not be able to ask the right question from the question. And that's why it is important for you to digest the concept before you begin to be solving question. If you don't understand the question, and if you don't understand the concepts on cost of capital, and you just want to be solving question, when you now stop, you are not going to feel happy. All right, you are not going to be happy with yourself that you are not getting it right. But if you understand the concepts, that is your starting point. At that moment on, nobody will tell you. You'll be motivated. You want to be solving questions. That's the way to go. Don't jump the gun. Move on from here. So I want to calculate post-tax interest, and this is calculated as interest multiplied by 1 minus tax rate. All right. So interest in the question is given as 7%, which is 7 naira. 7% of 100 naira is 7 naira. Multiplied by 1 minus tax rate. Tax rate is 30%. Therefore, 7 multiplied by 0.7, that will give us 4.9. So our post-tax interest is 4.9 naira, 4 naira 90 kobo. That's the post-tax interest. This is working number 4. I'm not rushing you. See the way we're taking it gently is because of my love for you. Because at this level, take no chance, right? Take no chance. All right, then. The final cash flow would then be the higher of redemption value or conversion value. At this point, I will not put anything here. This place will be blank, right? It will be blank. I need to go and confirm. I need to go and check the higher of conversion value or redemption value. Whichever of the two that is higher is what will come down here. So remember, we said that anytime you are calculating cost of convertibles, all right, you have to compare the higher of redemption value or conversion value. Okay, and that's what we want to do in our working number 5. First thing first, I will then come here. I want to select the higher, okay, the higher of 1. Let me use Roman figure 1. Redemption value. I will then go back to the question. How are we going to redeem? Okay, how do we redeem this convertible? All right, how do we redeem? If the company wants to redeem this bond, at what price? Okay, is it at par, at premium, or at a discount? In the question, I'm not sure examiner mentioned that. Let me see. So you are just told that the conversion date and redemption date are both on the same day in 5 years' time. All right. So we are not told whether it will be redeemed at par, at premium, and at a discount. So where examiner is silent as to how the debenture, so as to how the bond will be redeemed, then you are going to assume that it will be redeemed at par. At par means 100 naira. Therefore, our redemption value in 4 years' time will be 100 naira. Then we need to calculate conversion value. Conversion value. And we said that conversion value is calculated as number of ordinary shares at the exercise date. All right, number of ordinary shares at the exercise date, then multiply by the share price. We have done this before in the question of Singapore Limited as well as a Lacassetti. All right, I've already demonstrated this for you in the past. Okay. So we then go back to the question, what is the conversion value? So the question will tell us how the bonds can be converted to ordinary shares. All right. So we are told in this question that the convertible bonds of JP have a conversion ratio of 19 ordinary shares per bond. Okay. So you are going to convert 19 ordinary shares per bond. So in this case, you are supposed to maintain, examiner told us that the current ordinary share price of JP is expected to increase by 4% per year for the foreseeable. We are not given the current share price. You need to first of all determine the current share price. Once that is done, then you can then grow it by 4%. Okay. This company is 1 billion naira. To now get the share price, it will be 1 billion naira divided by number of ordinary shares. What is not 5. Working number 5. Let me bold it. Put it this way. Select the higher of. All right. So working number 6 now. I want to calculate X dividend, share price. All right. So how do you calculate X dividend share price? Let me copy this. I need this. Okay. So this will be computed. This is equal to total market value. This is total market value. Yes. Ordinary shares divided by number of ordinary shares. All right. Let me close this a little bit. Let's see. Which is equal to market value of ordinary shares according to the question we are told. All right. Divided by number of ordinary shares. Number of ordinary shares is 200 million. 200 million shares. Let me put this one in Naira. So what do you have here? 1,000 divided by 200. That would be 5 Naira, right? So 5 Naira per share. This is the share price. Let me just X dividend share price. Let me copy this so that will make more sense. What's wrong with you? Okay. What's your problem? Okay. Oluwaseun, you are writing on my screen. Stop it before we quarrel. Okay, so that's the X dividend share price. And I said this will be working number 6. All right. So now, to now calculate the conversion value, we know already from the question that conversion value is equal to 19 shares multiplied by, we need the share price. We don't know the share price. Therefore, let's calculate the share price in 5 years' time. When are we going to exercise the right to convert to ordinary shares? I think it's 5 years' time, right? Where is that? I saw it somewhere the other time. Well, yes. Where is that? I saw. If I deleted it.
Yes, 5 years time.
Okay, sorry. I think my eye is saying why. In 5 years' time. So my mind was on something else. So in 5 years' time. So in that case, this 5 Naira will grow by 4% in 5 years' time. So we need to incorporate the growth rate on the 5 Naira. All right. So this 5 Naira ex dividend share price will increase by 4% in 5 years' time. Therefore, let's calculate the market value. Or let me change this. Okay, let me just go ahead. Working number 7. Share price. Share price at the exercise dates. All right, that's what we want to calculate. If not, because examiner told you it will grow by 4%. Ordinarily, we just multiply 19 shares by 5 naira. But because examiner has told you that the company's current share price will increase by 4% for the foreseeable future, in that case, we need to incorporate the growth. So I would then say share price at the exercise dates, share price in 4 years' time, in 4 years' time, will then be equal to, there is a formula to do that. It will be calculated as A multiplied by, let me copy something I've done before. I need raised to power something. Let me check. Something we have done. Okay, let me use this. So which one is clearer? Let me use this. Okay, so because we are told that this share price will increase by 4%. What's wrong with you? We increase by 4%. Okay, let me use the one in the middle. Let me just copy this. We increase by 4% in the next for the foreseeable future, and that's why you have to incorporate the growth rates. So this will then be equal to A multiplied by 1 plus the growth rates, 1 plus G raised to power N. Okay, raised to power N. This is the formula to use where, all right, where A equal to current share price or market value, G equal to growth rates, then N equal to time period. Okay, let me adjust this one to small letter. All right. This one too. All right. So the current share price, based on our calculation, is 5 naira per share. Then the growth rate as given in the question is 4%. Is it 4 or 5? Let me confirm. Is it 4? I think it's 4. Yes. The current ordinary share price of JP is expected to increase by 4% per year for the foreseeable future. All right. So time period is in 5 years' time. 5 years. All right. So I can then go back here. I will just copy this. So is it 4 years' time or 5 years' time?
5 years.
What's wrong with me? 5 years, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 5 years' time. It is, yeah. So here would be 5 years' time. That is exercise dates. Therefore, this will then be equal to 1 plus 1.05. So what's the rate? 1.04 rather, raised to power 5. So what's your final? A is equal to 5 naira. A is equal to 5 naira multiplied by 1.04 raised to power 5. What's your final answer? Please give it to me.
6 naira. 6.08.
6.08. So with this, we have at the exercise date, the market price, it will be 6 naira 8 kobo. All right. The market price will be 6 naira 8 kobo in the next 5 years. So if not because we are given the growth rate of 4%, we would have used just 5 and move on. But because we are told that the company's current share price will increase by 4% for the foreseeable future. So you need to incorporate the growth rates. So I can then go back to my calculation here. This will then be equal to multiply by 6.08. Give it to me. What do you have here as the conversion value? What's the conversion value? And final answer. Yes.
115 naira 52 kobo.
115 naira.
52 kobo.
So that's 116 rounding. It's 116. That's it. You then select the higher of conversion value or redemption value. Let me put it this way. Or conversion value. Conversion value is higher than the redemption value. Therefore, the bondholders are going to exercise their rights because it is profitable. 116 naira is higher than 100 naira. So the bondholder will exercise the rights to convert to ordinary shares. So I will then come back here. Here will then be conversion value, which is 116. Now, this 4 naira 90 kobo for how many years? In 5 years' time. So I need to calculate annuity factor of year 1 to 5 at 10%. Somebody should give me annuity factor of year 1 to 5 at 10% quickly. What do you have?
3.791.
3.791. 791. Then discount factor for year 5 at 10% will give us 0.621. All right. So let's multiply to get the present value. 4.9 multiplied by 3.791. What you get? Somebody should also multiply 116 multiplied by 0.621. Give it to me quickly.
18.6.
18.6. Rounding. 19.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Next one.
72.
72. So 19 plus 72, that is 91. 91 minus 105, that will give us 14 negative. Here is 14 negative. So we assume discount rate of 10%. We got NPV of 14 negative. Let us reduce our discount rate in order to have a lower, in order to have a positive NPV. So let's assume 5%. Okay. Somebody should give me annuity factor of year 1 to 5 at 5%. Yes.
4.32. 4.329.
9. Then discount factor for year 5 at 5%.
0.784.
0.784. That's it. So let's multiply. 4.9 multiplied by 4.329. What do you have?
21.
21. Then 116 multiplied by 0.784. Yes. I can see
91.
91. So 91 plus 21, that's 112 minus 105. That should be
Positive
7, right?
7.
Positive 7. So we assume 10%. We got a negative NPV of 14. We then reduce our discount rate to 5%. We got a positive NPV of 7. Now that we have two opposing NPV, we can then proceed to calculate cost of convertible bond. And we said cost of convertible bond is calculated as internal rate of return. The step 1 is what we just completed. That is, we calculate two opposing NPV. Step 2 is to calculate cost of convertible bond using internal rate of return formula. Therefore, using internal rate of return formula, A is the lower discount rate of 5. So here will be 5, then plus 5 divided by 7. NPV of the lower discount rate is 7, right? Then divided by 7 plus NPV of the higher, which is 14. So higher discount rate of 10 minus lower discount rate of 5. Final answer, give it to me. We're almost there. What's your final answer? 7 divided by 21 equal, multiplied by 5 equal, plus 5 equal. What you get?
6.7.
6.67. 6.7. 6.7. This is approximately 7%. This is approximately 7%. All right. So we just completed step 3. Let's move to the final step, which is to calculate weighted average cost of capital. I would then say calculating WACC, denoted as KW. Time is just flying like anything. No, that we started. Eh? Look at time. I wish I can delay it a little bit so that I can cover as much as possible. Okay? That's just in my dream. It's not going to be possible. All right. To calculate WACC, let me copy the formula. We have done it before. Formula for calculating WACC. Since we have the 3 of them, let me just copy the entire thing. Okay. You can see it's not difficult if you understand the concept. So, because in this question, we have ordinary shares, we have preference shares, we also have convertible bonds. That means we are going to use the entire formula. The 3 of them are present. So this is the formula for calculating WACC. E is equity value. P is the value of preference share. D is the debt value. KE is cost of equity. KP is cost of preference share. KD is cost of debt, after tax cost of debt. So if that is the case, in the question examiner has given to us market value of equity to be equal to 1,000, because examiner has you to calculate X market value weighted average cost of capital. You have to calculate market value weighted average cost of capital. Examiner was specific. Therefore, market value of equity is 1 billion. Let's calculate total market value. All right. Let me take it to working number 7, not working number 8 this time around. I want to calculate total market value. Total market value, which is value of equity. Examiner has made life so easy for us by giving you market value of equity, market value of preference share, and market value of the debt. In most cases, you'll be the one to estimate this. So, equity value is 1 billion naira, right? Then value of preference share is 50 million. Okay? The value of the debts is 168. Okay, 168 million. When you add everything together, what you get? What you get? That's
1,218,000.
1218.
okay, 1218 million. That's 1.2 billion naira. Okay, so that's total market value. This will save your time. So I will then come here. Total market value is 1,218. Multiplied by cost of equity, we calculated 10%. Then market value of the preference share is 50 million. Here is 50 million divided by total 1,218. Multiplied by cost of preference share, we calculated 8%. Is it 8? Let me confirm. Yes, 8%. Then cost of debt, we calculated 7%. Okay, so here is 168 divided by 1218. Then multiply by after tax. There's no need for you to come and adjust for tax again. No need to come and say 1 minus tax. You've already adjusted for tax before you get the 7%. Remember, you calculated post-tax interest. All right, you calculated post-tax interest of 4.9. So no, you've already adjusted for tax. Don't go and be double dipping. Okay, so that's that. Yes. So give it to me from the left. What do you have? 1,000 divided by 1218 multiplied by 10. What you get?
8.24%.
8 point what? 2 decimal points.
Yes, 21.
Okay. Then the one in the middle, 50 divided by 1218, then multiply by 8. 0.33. Then for the debts, 168 divided by 1218, 0.5.
0.97.
What did you say?
0.97.
0.97. 97 or 90?
7 is correct.
So, okay. So add it up. Add it up. What you get?
10%.
10, what? 2 decimal points.
9.51.
9.51. Okay. So this is approximately 10%. All right. So I can then say, examiner is asking you in the question to calculate the market value after tax weighted average cost of capital of JP. All right. So I can then say the market value, sorry, the market value WACC of JP PLC of JP PLC is approximately 10%. So this is the cost of capital that JP PLC is going to use to evaluate its investment opportunity. All right. So that's that. That's end of the question. In the B part of the question, the examiner is asking you to discuss why market value weighted average cost of capital is preferred to book value weighted average cost of capital when making investing decision. This is a bonus 5 marks for you. I've already done this when I was explaining WACC. All right, all you need to do is to explain what is market value and why is market value preferred to. First thing first, you are going to define market value by saying that market value is the price determined by the market forces of demand and supply. This is because the market value incorporates the current market condition or latest information. Okay, this is because the market price incorporates or reflects, okay, the current information. Okay, then of course, then explain what is book value. Book value, also known as historical value, is the value, is the figure given in the statement of financial position or balance sheet. You then say book value, market value is preferred over book value because of the fact I've already mentioned that, because it reflects the current market information. Okay, and it is the most preferred. It is the most preferable by investors. Okay, of course, we have calculated WACC. Usually the WACC computed using market value will always be higher than the book value, because book value is historical, right? So book value is, we always produce suboptimal investing decision. That cannot help investors. That's why the market value is always preferred to book value. Okay, so that's what you are going to say. Let me even see. I think I solved this question in the golden book. Let me check again. First thing first, some people are sending message I've not read. Let me check. Same here, I thought it was my network. Is it the old one? Oh, okay. You guys are just giving me numbers. That's okay. All right, let me check if I have a golden book. Just 1 minute. 1 minute. Let me see. Please, can you confirm you are seeing the golden book on your screen?
No, sir.
You are not seeing it?
Not yet, sir.
Okay. I just want to show the solution to that number. I've not been able to chat on WhatsApp for the past almost 10 hours now today. I don't know what I did to WhatsApp. They just, they say they are reviewing my accounts as if I've done something wrong, you know? So I can't chat on WhatsApp, possibly between now and tomorrow morning. Yes, I'll be able to. So I want to show you how you are going to answer the, yes, this is the way I answer the number B part of the question. Okay. Market value is the current price determined by the market forces of demand and supply, while the book value represents the historical price as shown in the statement of financial position. In the calculation of weighted average cost of capital, both the market value and book value can be used to weigh or to form the proportion of individual source of finance in the capital structure or in the company's total pool of capital, however you want to put it. However, in the determination of WACC, the market value approach is usually preferred over the book value because market value reflects the relevant information required to make informed investing decisions by the market participants, all right, buyers and sellers. The book value approach is historical and does not reflect new information about the market conditions. For this purpose, the use of book value for estimating WACC can result in suboptimal investing decision. Practically, market value is always higher than the book value. As a result, the WACC computed using book market value will be higher relative to if book value is used. For instance, the current WACC of Jindadi, in this case, of Jindadi PLC is approximately 10%, whereas if the book value is used, it will be 9%, of course, which means you need to go and calculate because in order to buttress your point that you are trying to, in order to buttress the point I'm trying to make here, so I need to go and calculate the WACC using the book value, all right? So thus, the use of market value in determining the proportion of each source of financing in a company's total pool of capital is essential because of the significance of cost of equity in the WACC calculation as against the cost of debt. Generally, irrespective of method used for doing the weighting, the contribution of cost of debt will remain constant. It will not change, all right? The contribution of the part of the debt will remain the same. The major contributor is equity, all right? The major contributor is equity. So that's what I'm trying to explain here. So, and that's that. Of course, this is the WACC now using the book value approach. So you just go to the question. Remember, when you are using book value to calculate WACC, you are supposed to add ordinary share and reserves to form the proportion of equity. And that gave us 320 million. All right. So the book value of the convertible bond is 160. The book value of the preference share is 80 million. When you add everything, we have 560 million. So we then weight each source of finance. We weight each cost of capital of each source of finance. So equity is 320 over 560 multiplied by 10%. Preference share is 80 over 560 multiplied by 8%. Debt is 60 multiplied by divided by 560 multiplied by 7%. And of course, we got 8.85, approximately 9% is the WACC using the book value. So this is what examiner is expecting you to say. You can't just, you have to demonstrate that you know what you are doing. All right. Of course, if you just define market value, you define book value, you then say this is the reason why market value is preferred over the book value. Out of the 5 marks, examiner can give you 2 or 3 maximum. But if you go further to give examples like I've done here, calculating, going further, comparing the market value we calculated using, WACC we calculated using market value, which is 10%, relative to the book value, which is 9%. When you go that extra, then you'll be able to earn your full mark. All right. This is what examiner is asking you to do, and that is the end of the question. So at this point, let's spend the remaining hours that we have to explain project-specific cost of capital. So before that, let me know if you have any question for me. Let me know if you have any question for me so that we can move on. We can move on. Any question? Okay. So in the absence of no further question, so let me stop sharing the golden book and then move to let's explain. I thought it's just me. Kenny, what is Kenny, what are you thinking about? Yeah, good evening. This one you are saying What is
Yeah, with the golden book you are sharing currently, I can recall from the question we just saw, you said we should assume the percentage of 10%. I can see in golden book you are using 5 and 7.
Okay, yes. You still get the same thing. You know, we are assuming. you're assuming discount rate, and you can see the final answer still remain the same, isn't it?
Yes.
So yeah, irrespective, you still assume and you still arrive, provided you have positive and negative, you are still going to arrive at the same answer. Yes, Sonia, talk to me.
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good
Sir,
evening.
please, I want to confirm something. When we're calculating the cost of convertible bond, does that mean that
Yeah.
when calculating convertible bond or convertible shares, we'll have to always use the IRR? But while using the IRR formula, we have to check the higher of the redemption value and the conversion value, right?
No. So my explanation is that, I mean, in our first day class, when we were discussing last week, I think it was last week Tuesday, when we were discussing cost of convertible, I mentioned that cost of convertible security is computed as internal rate of return, okay? By assuming two discount rate that will produce two opposing NPV, then proceed to calculate cost of convertible using internal rate of return formula. But specifically, I mentioned to you that when you are calculating your NPV, right, you are going to compare the higher of redemption value or conversion value. And I said that investor will only convert to ordinary shares only if it is profitable. That is, if conversion value is higher than the redemption value. So at all time, whether you are calculating cost of convertible security or you want to calculate market value of convertible securities, you must compare redemption value with the conversion value. Any of the two that is higher is what you are going to select. That's all. Sonia, talk to me. Are you fine?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. So let's discuss project-specific cost of capital. By next week, by the grace of God, we are going to complete cost of capital. So we just solve question. If I'm able to explain all relevant concepts today, if possible, we still have time, we can start calculation. But if not, in our next class, we are going to do calculation on project specific. And then we're also going to do Wakuka. Okay. All right. Project specific cost of capital. In recent time, this is the most common categories of cost of capital. This is the most common categories of cost of capital. Usually, I can usually test it under capital budgeting as well as valuation as a sub requirement. Okay, as a sub requirement. All right. So let's talk about project-specific cost of capital. Remember when we started about 3 weeks ago? Is it 3 weeks? 4 weeks now, yeah. When we started about 4 weeks ago, I mentioned to you that there are 3 ways, or there are 3 categories of weighted average cost of capital. The first one, which is traditional work, is what we just completed. The second one is project-specific, all right, work. And the third one is weighted average cost of capital of the combined activities. So the second one is what we want to discuss right now. So remember, we said that traditional work is computed when information about capital structure, that is when you are given ordinary share capital, preference share capital, as well as a debt capital, then in that case, you are supposed to calculate traditional WACC. Therefore, what are you supposed to look out for in a question for you to know that you are supposed to use project-specific WACC? All right. Now, the project-specific WACC is computed when a company is diversifying or when debt equity proportion are expected to change as a result of undertaking a project. Okay, that is when you compute project-specific WACC. If you can see in a question that the company is diversifying, let's say, for example, equity professional is into education business, right? So if equity is diversifying or equity is contemplating on taking on investments in real estate, all right? So it means that equity professional limited is moving from education, all right? Is moving from education into real estate, because every industry has its own peculiar risk. The risk in education business is different from the risk in real estate. Therefore, and then ideally, and most importantly, cost of capital must be consistent with the systematic business and financial risk associated with the project. Okay, and that is why anytime you want to remember the work that we just completed, the traditional work we just completed, ignore risk is one of the assumptions. Work ignore project risk. Okay, but when you talk about the risk, I mean the cost of capital that incorporates the risk associated with the project, that is project specific. All right, and that is what we want to discuss. So how do you estimate project specific? What are the procedures you're supposed to carry out? All of that is what we want to discuss briefly. Okay, so let's start. Let me just put it down for you. This is computed. This is computed when a company is diversifying. When a company is diversifying, or when systematic, or let me put it this way, when debt equity proportion, or should I use, okay, when systematic business and financial risk of a company is expected to change as a result of undertaking a project. All right. All right. So the key point here is diversification. So you only calculate project specific cost of capital when a company is diversifying. That is when you calculate project specific cost of capital. What's wrong with you? All right, that is when you calculate project specific cost of capital. Let me buttress the points. When a company is undertaking a project, in a new industry, the existing work, the current work, the existing work of the business or company of the business will not be suitable, to evaluate the projects. Therefore, a cost of capital, therefore an appropriate An appropriate cost of capital, an appropriate cost of capital that is consistent, with the systematic business and financial risk of the company must be estimated. So that is introduction to project-specific cost of capital. So what we are trying to say here is that the current work, if a company is diversifying, okay, if a company is diversifying into a new industry, the current work, let's say, for example, the question we just solved, Jindadi PLC, we calculated work of 10%. All right. Ordinarily, that 10% is what Jindadi PLC is going to use to appraise projects in his industry. So if Jindadi PLC is now moving to a new industry, that 10% you cannot use it to go and evaluate projects in another industry because the risk associated with individual industry differ. All right. So you cannot import the risk of one industry to another industry. So that's what the under portfolio. That's what we call systematic and unsystematic risk. All right. So when you talk about systematic risk, is a kind of risk that affects all the business in the economy, all the businesses or all the companies in the economy. Unsystematic risk is avoidable. All right. Is diversifiable. Okay, that is unsystematic risk. And it is that unsystematic risk is peculiar to a particular industry or particular company. All right. So what we are saying here is that as far as project-specific cost of capital is concerned, you will only calculate it when a company is undertaking projects in a new industry, because the cost of capital to be used to evaluate a project must be consistent with the risk associated with the business or with the company. All right. So that is what we are saying. Next, there are some terminologies you need to get familiar with anytime you want to calculate project-specific cost of capital. So you need to learn about terminologies. You need to learn about what is business risk. Examiner can ask you, they've asked this in the past. What is business risk? All right. What is financial risk? Okay. Not only that, you can also be asked, of course, you need to know about beta. What is beta? What are the types of beta? What do you mean by proxy? Okay. What is proxy? Proxy company. You need to know all of this. Company. All right. So let's start small. The first one is business risk. Okay. What do you understand by business risk? This is the risk. This is the risk associated with the industry where a company operates. This is the risk associated with the industry where a company operates. All right. So the risk of individual business or industry differ. Okay. Differ. All right. The risk of individual business or industry differs. Business risk is also known as operating risk. the risk associated with operating cash flow, like the revenue, all right, like your operating cost, initial outlay, and all of that, because including your operating profit as well. You may have estimated that you are going to achieve a return, you are going to achieve a profit of 20%. Market condition can limit the ability of the company to achieve the intended goal for that particular period. And of course, that is a risk. When your actual results is different from the estimated results, that's a risk. Okay, when your actual is different from your budgeted, that's a risk, and that is what we are talking about. That's related to the business risk. Business risk can come in any form. Okay, it can come in any form. All right. So how do you measure business risk? Let me put it down for you. Business risk is measured using asset beta. Okay. Business risk, all right, is measured by assets beta. All right, what is asset beta? We are going to discuss it later on. Okay, then what is financial risk? This is the risk. This is the risk arising from debt financing. So when a company finances its operation with debts, then it means that the company will be exposed to financial risk. So this is the risk arising from debt financing. When a company finances its operation with debts, including bonds, debenture, loan notes, or bank loan, the company may be exposed to the business or the company. Let me use the company. The company may be exposed to financial risk. All right. Also, financial risk can come in any form. What we are saying here is that if a company borrows loan to finance a project and the company is unable to pay the loan, what do you think will happen? The lender will want to collect their money back. They can seize the projects. All right. So that's a risk. All right. So that's financial risk. So the risk associated with debt financing is what is known as financial risk. How do you measure financial risk? This is measured by equity beta. This is measured by equity beta. All right. What is equity beta? We are going to talk about it later. Now, let's talk about beta. What do you mean by beta? What do you use betas to do? This is a measurement. This is a measurement of risk. That is, beta is used to measure business and financial risk. Generally, there are two types. There are two types of beta, including one, asset beta. What do you mean by asset beta? Okay, what do you mean by asset beta? This is also known as, this is also known as, ungeared beta, ungeared beta, ungeared beta. All right. Is it that those people that normally check my grammatical error when I'm typing, they are not in class today, or is it because I'm correcting myself almost immediately? Let me hear from you. You have been too quiet. Is anybody here with me? If you are here with me, say hi.
We are copying your
Hi.
voice, sir. We are following your
Aha.
voice.
Okay. Now I know that I have people behind me. People are supporting me. Okay, then we can proceed. All right. Yes, Lady, thank you. All right, so this is also known as ungeared beta. It is used, asset beta is used, it is used for measuring business risk. It is used for measuring business transaction, see you, business risk. Okay. So anytime you want to measure the risk associated with the industry where a company operates, you have to calculate asset beta. In some instances, of course, the most important thing, you want to know whether the company is diversifying, all right? Because that's the first thing you want to know when you are calculating your project specific. So to do this, of course, to calculate your asset beta, we said asset beta is the risk, is the asset beta measures only business risk, of course, and it is always lower than the equity beta. So for you to be able to calculate your asset beta, what I use, okay, let me just do it this way. Let me finish all the terminologies. When I'm doing the procedures, I will tell you what you should look out for under each of them so that it will be faster a little bit. Okay? So, I said this is used for measuring business risk. Okay, that's fine. Then we have equity beta. Equity beta. This measures both business and financial risk. Okay, this measures both business and financial risk. The equity beta is always higher than the asset beta, higher than the asset beta. Okay. For a company that is only financed, let me put it down for you. For a company or for a wholly finance, for a wholly equity financed company, equity beta, asset beta and equity beta will be the same. Asset beta, asset and equity beta will be The same. So what we are saying here is that if a company finances its operation with only equity, 100% equity, no debt, it means that both asset and equity beta are the same. All right. So that's that. Then about next, what do you understand by proxy company? Okay, what is proxy company? This is a comparable company. This is a comparable company that operates in the industry where a company is moving to, where a company is moving to. So it is assumed that both the main company and proxy company have similar business risk. So like I mentioned the other time, if a company is moving to another industry, right? So the risk in the industry where you are moving to will be different relative to the risk of your current industry. So in that case, if a company wants to execute a project in the new industry, you have to borrow the beta of the existing company that are operating in that industry for the purpose of evaluating a project. All right. So you borrow the beta to calculate your cost of capital, which you are going to use to then appraise the project. So the company that are operating in the new industry are the proxy companies. They are the proxy companies. Let's say, for example, a communication company is diversifying into oil and gas. The risk in communication company is different from oil and gas. So when this company gets to oil and gas industry to evaluate a project, the first thing you need to do is to meet with the people that are already operating in that industry, in the oil and gas industry, borrow their beta, use the beta to estimate your own cost of capital for the purpose of evaluating a project in the oil and gas. All right. So this is what you need to know. These are the preliminary discussion around the project specific cost of capital. So the next thing we want to do is to then discuss the procedures involved in calculating project specific cost of capital. What are the steps? What are the steps involved in calculating project specific cost of capital? Okay. So steps involved in calculating project specific work. Okay. So what are the steps? Let's go through it together. Project specific cost of capital is very interesting and straightforward, provided you understand all relevant formulas, you know all relevant formulas under each steps. All right. So anytime you want to calculate project specific cost of capital, majorly there are 5 steps. It's not more than that 5. There are 5 steps. The first step is to identify proxy beta, which I denote as P. The second step is to ungear the beta if it is geared, that is U. Then the third step is to regear. All right, you regear in order to incorporate financial risk, that is R. Then the fourth step is to calculate cost of equity using capping. So you calculate capping. Then step number 5 is to calculate project specific work. These are the acronyms of the procedures you are going to carry out anytime you want to compute project-specific work. All right. So if you are doubting the procedure you want to, once you know PURCW, you then begin to talk about each of them one by one. The first one is to identify proxy. P stands for proxy beta. U stands for ungear the beta. R means regear the beta. C means capping. W means work. That's it. All right. So step number one, what do? Identify the proxy beta. You then say identify the proxy beta. All right. How do you identify the proxy beta? Let me write out the symbol for proxy, sorry, for beta. Beta. I used it at that time. All right. So how do you identify the proxy beta? You go to the question as given to you and go and check the beta given in the question. Of course, usually question under project specific. Examiner will usually start with the name of the main company, the company that wants to evaluate projects, or the company that wants to diversify. The name of the company will be given to you. Then any other name that you see, Rabiat, what happened to you? Talk to me. Rabi?
I'm good. I'm just feeling sleepy.
Yeah, Kwele. Oh, can I give you control so that you can speak for, you can take us for like 2 to 5 minutes? Rabi?
Sir, please ride on.
You can teach us anything you have learned so far under strategic financial management so that the sleep will disappear. I understand. We're almost there. This is, we have about 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes. Okay. So how do you identify the proxy beta? Go to the question. All right. Go to the question. When you see any other name other than the main company's name, that is the proxy company. Then read the information about the proxy company. Once you can see the beta there, then you pick it. So that means you have identified the proxy beta. Okay. That is the first acronyms. Proxy. P stands for proxy beta. Then step number 2. Let me label it. All right. So step number 2 is to ungear the beta. If it is geared, ungear the beta. Ungear the beta in step 1. Okay, you ungear the beta in step 1 if it is geared. If it is geared. How do you know that the beta is geared? Let me show you. What are you supposed to look out for in a question to know that the beta is geared? Let me underline the key word there. Please give me 1 minute, just 1 minute or less. Okay, so let's continue. Yes, like I was saying, how would you know that the beta is geared? The beta you have identified in step 1, how will you know it is geared? All right, let me push it to the next. The beta, number 3. No, come back here, not too fast. The beta will be geared. This is what you should be looking out for. The beta will be geared if the proxy company has debts, including bonds, debentures, loan notes, or in some instances, in some questions, you may be given a bank loan. All right. So if you can see in a question, right? If in a question, you can see that the proxy company has debts in its capital structure. So it means that the beta that you have identified in step 1 is geared. So if the beta is geared, then in that case, you need to go and ungear it. So this is what you need to do. All right. So the beta in step 2, the beta in step 1 will be geared if the proxy company has debts in its capital structure, okay, or loan in its capital structure. So if you can see any form of debt in the balance sheet of the proxy company, it means that the beta you have identified in step 1 is geared. How do you then ungear? The formula below, the formula or ungear beta, let me put it this way. Asset beta, what's wrong with you? Asset beta or ungear beta can be calculated using the formula below. Using the formula below, depending on whether or not there is debt beta. Depending on whether or not there is debt beta, BD. Let me copy this guy. Debt beta. That's BD. All right. So according to Miller and Modigliani, Miller M&M assumed that debt beta is always risk-free. All right. Okay. Which is not realistic though. So the first one, number A, where debt beta is risk-free. If you are told in the question that debt beta is risk-free, that is equal to 0. If you are not given debt beta in the question, it means that it is assumed to be risk-free. Let me hurry up with all of this. That is 0. All right, so where debt beta is risk-free, how do you calculate your beta? Your asset beta, which is BA. Let me copy this. Garage. Asset beta, which is BA, is computed as beta equity of a gear. Let me remove both. All right. This is computed as beta equity of a gear, BEG, multiplied by, let me copy, which one is more like it? Okay, let me use this. All right. I have to be fast or faster. So this is computed as beta equity of a gear multiply by, okay, equity value. Let me shorten it. Equity value over equity plus debt over equity plus debt multiply by 1 minus tax. 1 minus tax rates. So this is the formula you are going to use to calculate asset beta, where you are told that, why is the asset beta that I wrote down before? Okay, this is BA. Now, of course, E is equity value, D is the debt value. All right. So that will give you the asset beta. You only use this formula where you are told in the question that asset beta, debt beta is risk-free. Alternatively, if I don't want to use this formula, I can use another one. I'm still going to get the same answer. So here will be beta asset will be equal to beta equity of a gear multiplied by 1 divided by 1 plus 1 minus tax multiplied by debt equity proportion multiplied by debt equity proportion. Okay, whichever one I use, whether I use this or I use the second one, I'm still going to get the same answer. Okay, so that's that. Any of the two that is more convenient for you, you use. Of course, you can put this in brackets. So it's just that I don't want to waste time. Then the second one is where debt beta is given. All right. Number B, where debt beta is given. Where debt beta is given. In this case, it's no more, debt beta is no more risk-free. So if debt beta is given, how are you supposed to calculate your asset beta? Then you are going to use this big for nothing formula. All right, use the extended formula to do that. So the first one, the first formula you have before plus the debt beta side. So here will be plus debt beta, this is BD, multiplied by debt value multiplied by 1 minus tax. 1 minus tax. Okay, so that will give you, so the addition of the two will then give you the beta assets. All right, our asset beta or on gear beta. This formula is used if you are given debt beta, provided debt beta is given to you. When you are given this BD, that is when you calculate asset beta using this formula. Okay. BD. Only when BD is given, that's when you use this formula. All right, then step 3. Step 3 is to regear. All right, you regear in order to incorporate financial risk of the main company. Note, for step 1 and step 2, you need the information about the company. Okay, note, sorry, about the proxy company. Note, the information or the statistics, the information about the proxy company is required for step 1, for steps 1 and 2 above. Okay, that's that. So from step 3 to step 5, you need the information about the main company. Let me bold this so that you understand. You don't use information of the main company for step 1 and step 2. It has to be the information of the proxy company. That's a key thing to note. Then step 3, you regear to incorporate the financial risk of the main company. All right. You regear to incorporate financial risk of the main company. You know, when you ungear, it means that you degear. What are you degear, ungear, or you calculate asset beta? We are still saying the same thing. Okay. So to regear in this case, it means that you need to incorporate the financial risk of the main company. So in this step 3, you need the information of the company that is diversifying. You don't use proxy information in step 3, step 4, and then step 5. All right. You are only borrowing the beta. You are borrowing the asset beta of the proxy. You are using the asset beta of the proxy company to estimate the cost of capital for the main company. So this asset beta is what you are going to use to regear when you get to step 3. Okay. So in this case, how do you regear? Depending on the information available, depending on whether or not debt beta is risk-free or debt beta is given. To regear, I will just copy this formula. Okay. All right. So to regear, depending on whether or not debt beta is risk-free, let me put it down for you. Any of the formulas below can be used. Yesterday, you're writing on my screen, can be used to regear depending on whether or not, debt beta is given. All right. So the first one, where debt beta is assumed to be risk-free, let me copy. This my PC Asin Shege in the hands of online class. Okay. So where debt beta is risk-free, I will just copy this. Let me copy any one of this. No, no need. All right. Let me use this. So to regear, your gear beta or beta of a gear company will be computed as beta assets that you have calculated in step 2 multiplied by 1 plus 1 plus 1 minus tax, 1 plus 1 minus tax, or multiplied by debt equity proportion. Okay, multiply by debt equity proportion. That's all you need to do. All right, let me do it this way. Let me use this. Okay. So that is the formula that you are going to use to regear where debt betal is assumed to be risk-free. Okay, the second part, where debt betal is given, all right? So where debt betal is given, you just assume, you are going to use the same formula as when you are, sorry, I didn't copy the right thing. So you use the same formula as if you want to calculate asset beta. All right. So where the beta is risk-free, this is the formula. It's the same thing. The only thing is just that in this step 3, you are using the information of the proxy company. All right. Market value of the main company, the debt value of the main company, the tax of the main company, the debt beta of the main company. All right. Unlike the step 2, here you are using the information about the proxy company. So it's the same formula that you are going to use if you want to regear. All right. However, because you have already calculated asset beta in step 2, so this one is easier. I mean, it's easy for you. This is what you want to calculate. Beta equity of a gear company is what you want to calculate at the end of the day. All right. Then step 4 is to then calculate CAPM. Okay, you calculate capital asset pricing model, CAPM. Okay, that is capital asset pricing model. All right, so that's that. And finally, step 5. Of course, how do you calculate CAPM? We just did it earlier today. Let me copy. I don't need to rewrite it. Where are you? We've calculated you before now. Yes. So you calculate cost of equity using CAPM. That's it. Okay. So after this, then finally you calculate your WACC. Calculate WACC, denoted as KW. All right. So how do you calculate WACC? You already know the formula. Let me just copy and paste. So in this case, we are less concerned with preference share. Under project specific, it is assumed that the company is financed with equity and debt only, no preference shares. All right. So that is that. You remove the middle one. No preference shares. Okay, so that's that. So this is where we are going to call it a day. It's already time. So let me know if you have any question for me so that I can release you.
Hello,
Let
sir.
me see. Some people are sending messages.
I
Oh.
want to ask question again.
Question, no.
Kenny, why are you shining your teeth? And the Olaide, what's the issue with you? This are you laughing or this your love emoji with your shiny teeth? Oh, okay. Is it because of Rabiat? Rabiat's head is hot, it's smoky. Oh, yeah, talk to me. Yes, any question? Yes, promise. Talk to me.
All right, sir. For ungearing in step
Two.
no regear step 3. So the
Yes.
second one for B, where debt beta is given, you said
Yeah.
asset beta is equals to equity beta. Where we will be calculating asset beta, but in A, we said equity beta. So I need clarification on.
What are you saying? Promise.
Okay, A, where debt beta is risk-free,
Yeah.
we calculate equity beta. It's just the difference that this one debt is given. We supposed to also calculate equity beta, but it's just that with
This is
this
what I
risk.
mean.
Yes, sir.
Don't go further. This is what I said. You can see it's the same formula, right?
Okay.
This second big for nothing formula, right? That's your concern,
Yes.
isn't it? So what I'm saying here is that if you want to regear, the same
Yes, sir.
formula you have in this step 2, this big for
Okay.
nothing formula, is the same thing you are going to use. If you
Oh,
are told in the question that the company has debt, it has a debt beta. Okay,
yes,
if the
sir.
main company has debt beta, this is the same formula that you are going to use. The only difference is that what you want to calculate for, your subject is the beta equity of a gear. That's what you are looking for. In step 2, you are calculating asset beta, which is BA. This is BA
Okay.
you are calculating in step 2. But in step 3, you are not calculating BA because you already have the BA. What you are calculating is beta equity of a gear. That is the unknown. So the answer
Yes.
you have in step 2, this BA in step 2, you already have the answer. That's what you are going to put here. But what you want to calculate is this guy. However, the equity value, the debt value, the tax rates, the debt beta must be for the main company. So the
All right, sir.
variables you have, even though the letters are the same, but the figures you are going to put will be different. Don't worry, by the time we begin calculation, you will see it. Okay?
It's all right. I even come across this. Our November died for skills. The same thing. I
Yeah.
thank God they did not give
Beta, debt
beta.
beta.
Yes, debt beta. I think I forgot the formula. That was it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Why did I do this? Okay. So any questions so that I can release you?
Comment section. Question in the comment section.
Oh, okay. The person can just pick up, or maybe, are we not supposed to remove the P from the work calculation in the step 5? I've removed it already now. Let me check. Oh, thank you, Jerry. My mind was on yeah, thank you. All right, that's it. Okay, any further questions so that I can release you?
Yes.
Before Simbiat and Rabiat, all of them give me a pako from here. That this guy, you are taking too much or you are talking too much. Let's close the class. My eyes are already swollen. It's all right. So, in the absence of no further question, I want to say thank you to every one of you for waiting behind to the last minutes. Please don't forget what I told you earlier when we started the class today. Time and time wait for nobody. Do your best. The work has started now almost immediately, so you have to take your study very seriously. No day should pass without you studying for a minimum of 2 hours, no matter how tight are your schedule. So you need to design your reading timetable and then be committed to it. Because before you wink, November 10th will be here. And I wish you success in your exam. So I will see you next time by the grace of God. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
You're
Good night.
welcome. Good night.
Sure.
So do one.
Good night, sir.
All right, promise.
Hello,
Okay.
sir.
Yes,
Good evening, sir. Sir, please, can the video be uploaded as soon as possible?
it's not me. It's another person that is responsible. You can always chat on the group. Once I share the file, any moment. Oh, I can't share. Oh, okay. Let me see. Let me see what I can do. So you can comment on the group. That's the person that normally share that you can. So he will assist you. He will share. He will upload latest tomorrow.
All
Yeah.
right, thank you, sir, because I wasn't able to start with the class. Like I
Oh,
joined around
well,
after 10. Yeah.
I can imagine. No worries. All right then. Cheers. Bye.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.